Welcome back, class 9 students. Today mainly we will start our half-yearly syllabus. So before starting our syllabus, we have to discuss something. That is, in your NCERT book, you already have noticed that there are mainly 6 chapters, right? And till now we have completed 2 chapters. That is chapter 1, India size and location, and number 2, physical features of India. Now, some days ago, a CBSE notification had come, and according to that notification, for these pandemic situations, we have to eliminate 2 chapters. And what are that 2 chapters? Drainage, and I think chapter 3, and chapter 6, population. But we have to practice some maps from that chapter. Okay. So for this cause I have decided, and from history portion also TS ma'am will say about it. So that's why I have decided that in half yearly syllabus we will include only one new chapter, that is natural vegetation and wildlife. Okay, and also one old chapter, that is physical features of India. So in your half-yearly examinations, you have 2 chapters, physical features of India and natural vegetation and wildlife. Okay, and so today we will discuss about our new chapter, natural vegetation and wildlife. So at first we have to know that in our India, we have already read that our India is a dynamic country. And there are different types of physical landform, there are different weather, climate, and also natural vegetation and wildlife are there. And you know, our country in India is one of the 12 mega biodiversity countries of the world. 12 mega biodiversity countries of the world. And according to India State of Forest report in the year of 2011, the forest cover in India is 21.05%. 21.05%. Okay. Now, what is natural vegetation? Natural, this term is related with something which happened naturally, and there is not any human interference. We can also call it virgin vegetation. There is a relation between natural vegetation and virgin vegetation. Naturally vegetation and virgin vegetation, both the term refers to a plant community, okay, and which has grown naturally without any human interference, and it has been left undistributed by humans for a long time. That's why natural vegetations are also known as virgin vegetation. Understand? When the natural vegetation has been left for a long time and it is left undistributed by humans, because the humans have not any interfere in this type of grown capacity, so natural vegetation then called the virgin vegetation. And some important thing you also have to read, what are that? With about 47,000 plant species, India occupies plant diversity. It is about 47,000. And you know, with 10th place in the world and 4th in Asia is flowering plants in India, which account for 6% in the world's total number of flowering plants. And the country has many non-flowering plants also. The natural vegetation in this term, it is related with flowering plants and non-flowering plants. Some vegetations grows with flower and some are not. What are that examples? Like ferns, algae and fungi. These are non-flowering plants. These are non-flowering plants. Okay. So natural vegetation can be divided into two types of plants. Number one, flowering plants, and number two, non-flowering plants. Flowering plants, you know the examples, but the examples of non-flowering plants are ferns, algae and fungi. Okay, and there is a relation between natural vegetation and virgin vegetation. Now the virgin vegetation is divided into two parts. Number one, that is known as endemic, and number two, it is known as exotic plants. What is endemic and what is exotic? Endemic means which are purely Indian plant. Okay, and exotic means these plants have come from outside of India. So there are mainly two types of plants, that are endemic plant and exotic plant. Endemic plant means which plants are purely Indian, that are known as endemic, and which came from outside of India, that is known as exotic plant. In this chapter, two terms are also important, that is flora and fauna. What is flora and what is fauna? Flora is used to denote plants of a particular period, or you can say particular region or any particular place, that are known as flora. So this is a group of plants, and the species of animals are referred to as fauna. So flora is species of plants and fauna is species of animals. This huge diversity in flora and fauna kingdom has some factors, because you know that there are different types of weatheric and climatic conditions, and which are mainly related with the growing of the natural vegetation or wildlife. So firstly, we will discuss about the vegetation. That's why we have to know that for growing of the flora and fauna and the different varieties of the plants, there are worked some factors. What are that factors? So we can say that diversity in flora and fauna there are some factors. What are that factors? Mainly there are two types of category, that is relief, and number two, climate. Okay, mainly we have categorized the factors into two categories, relief and climate. Now in relief portion, we will discuss about land and soil, and in climatic portion we will discuss about temperature, then precipitation, and then sunlight. Sunlight, this point is also related with temperature, although differently we have to discuss this point. Okay, sunlight, this point is also known as photoperiod. So these types of factors now we will start for discussing. You know that firstly we will discuss about land. You know that all over the world land is not same. And in physical features of India, you have gained that idea that all the landforms are not even. Some places are uneven also. So that's why suppose in our area we live in the plain area, so the plain area always that we support for agricultural practice, right? But the hilly area or the mountainous area or the terrain area, that rough terrains are the area where grasslands and woodlands develop only, and they can also give shelter for the wildlife, wild animals, or different types of wild species. So that's why this is a main factor for diversity of flora and fauna. And suppose in the mountainous and hilly area, the climatic condition is not same as our area. If we compare, then in our area it will differ. So in the plain area, that is suitable for normally agricultural practice like paddy, wheat, etc. And the hilly and mountainous area, that are suitable for mainly grassland and woodlands developing, or they can also give shelter to the varieties of wildlife. Now soil. Soil is also related with the land, and the soils also vary over space. Different types of soils you have already read. There are different types of soils like alluvial soil, black soil, mountain soil, desert soil, etc. And the sandy soil of the desert support cactus, and thorny types bushes. While wet or marshy area, deltaic soils support mangroves. Mangroves are mainly grown in the in which places the saline waters are available. Saline means the salty water. At that places we can see the mangroves and deltaic vegetation. And the hill slopes with some depth of the soil have conical trees. Conical trees means this type of leaves. That means this portion is like cone. That's why its name is conical trees. In the hilly area or in the mountainous area where the places are covered with snow, at that places the leaves are looking like cone shaped. That's why its name is conical trees. So in this way, lands or soils are responsible for the diversity of flora and fauna. Okay. Now we will discuss about climate. In the first point we will discuss about temperature. You know that temperature are also not same in different parts of our country, not only our country, all over the world. The character and extent of vegetation are mainly determined by this factor. On the slopes of the Himalayas and the hills of the peninsula above the height of I think 920 to 925 meters, or it is start from 915 meters. The fall in the temperature affects the types of vegetation and its growth, and changes it from tropical to subtropical, temperate and alpine vegetation. Actually, based on the temperature, there are different types of vegetation zone. What are that zone? Number 1, tropical vegetation zone. Number 2, subtropical vegetation zone. Number 3, temperate vegetation zone. And number 4, alpine vegetation zone. And if you rewind that, suppose in class 6, I think you have already gained the idea about the climatic zone, and you have read about torrid zone, temperate zone and frigid zone. So that climatic zones are also related with this factor, with the different types of vegetation zone. According to the different types of temperature or climatic condition, the vegetations, different types of vegetations are also differ. So based on that, there are mainly 4 types of vegetation: tropical, subtropical, temperate and alpine. Okay, now we will discuss about precipitation. This term is related with not only rainfall. Again and again I have told you, precipitation is related with snowfall also. Different types of rainfall, drizzle, hail, there are different terms for precipitation. So not only rainfall is related with precipitation. In India, almost the entire rainfall is brought in by the advancing southwest monsoon. Actually, our India is mainly based on the southwest monsoon. The rain-bearing winds are coming from the southwestern side of India, and it naturally starts in the month of June, you know. So, our monsoon season has already started in the month of June, and retreating northeast monsoons. So, areas of heavy rainfall have more dense vegetations as compared to areas of less rainfall, because you know that tropical areas, which area is also related with the equatorial region. So, at that area, the sun rays and the rainfall, amount of rainfall is very high. That's why at that region the forests are also densest if we compare it to the desert region. You know that that desert region, the amount of rainfall is very much less in amount. So that's why precipitation is another important factor for growing the flora and fauna or different types of plant species. Next, the sunlight or photoperiod. The variation in duration of sunlight at different places is due to differences in latitudes. You know that there are different types of latitudes and altitude, season and duration of the day. Due to longer duration of sunlight, trees grow faster in summer season. So this is the main thing in photoperiod. Photoperiod means how much time in any place is getting the sunlight. That is known as photoperiod. This is the duration of sunlight. If any places receive the sunlight throughout a long time, comparatively to any less amount sunlight area, so at that area, high photoperiod area, which area is received the high sunlight or high amount of photoperiod, at that region the trees grows faster. Okay, so this is the main things of the factors about the diversity in flora and fauna. Now we will focus on why forests are important, because natural vegetation is related with forests. So that's why we will discuss about why forests are so much important. So we can say that number 1, forests are mainly renewable resource. You have that idea that what is renewable and what is non-renewable. So you know that why forests are known as renewable resource, because we can renew it. This is our within our capacity that we can plant trees, different types of trees. So that's why it is a renewable resource, and it plays a major role in enhancing the quality of environment. So this is our second point, enhancing the quality of our environment. These all are the importance of forests or natural vegetation. They modify local climate, control soil erosion. In any places, if there are different types of varieties of natural vegetation, then they also control soil erosion. Okay, and also control flood, because at that region the plant's roots are deeply related, linked up with the soil, so that's why it also control the flood. Next we can discuss that it also support a variety of industries, provide livelihood for many communities, and offer panoramic or scenic view for recreation. As an example, we can say botanical garden. Botanical garden is a very nice place, and if you go there, then you can observe different types of plant species are there. So our fourth point is it also support varieties of industries, because you know that in the forest area always the plants absorb the carbon dioxide, okay, and in return we can get the oxygen, so it's also support the industries. Next, it is importance for recreation. As an example, botanical garden. Okay, so these all are the importance of forests. They also control wind force and temperature and cause rains. So forests are also the cause of rainfall, and rainfall is very much important for our agricultural practice, and also control a huge amount of sun rays or sunlight. So rainfall is a very important factors. So forest also control and also cause the rains. They provide humus to the soil and shelter to the wildlife. Shelter of wildlife. So we have discussed that forest has a great importance in our daily life, but in return what we are giving to forest? Yes, we are also responsible for forest degradation. Human being is the main responsible for our environmental degradation and forest degradation also. How? Because mining, we have read that in class 8, that mining is related with the digging or scooping or stripping of the earth surface. So at that cause, forests are also depleting. Number 2, we can say that urbanization. Why? Because our population is increasing day by day, and now our mind setup is that we all of we are want to settle up in the urban area. So that's why we are cutting down trees and we are cleared the forest area. At that way the forest is also depleting. So urbanization is the second point. Number 3, we can say that the overgrazing of pastures. So this is our responsibility to restore or to sustain our forest, because in which things, in which type of resources we are getting a lots amount of benefits. So this is not fair that we are also responsible for forest degradation, right students? So this is our duty to protect our environment and to protect our forests. The vegetation cover of India in large parts is no more, except the some inaccessible regions like the Himalayas, the hilly region of central India, and mostly the vegetation in most of the areas has been modified at some places or replaced or degraded by human occupancy. Actually, human beings always want that we occupy this place. This place is for us. This place is for us. In hilly area or in any mountainous area or in any plain area, in any place, if they see that that area is occupied by forest, then human being always want that we want this place for urbanization, for preparing the building material, for preparing different types of shopping malls, different things. So at that way we are depleting our forests. So this is our duty. In some ways we have to sustain this forest for our future generation, for balancing the health of the environment. So this is very much important. Now we will discuss about there are different types of vegetation. Types of vegetation. What are that type? Number 1, tropical evergreen forests. Number 2, that is tropical deciduous forests. Number 3, tropical thorn forests. THORN, thorn forests. Then number 4, montane forests. Then number 5, mangrove forests. So these are the main types of vegetation. Now one by one we will discuss about it. At first we will read about the tropical evergreen forests. Okay. These forests are restricted to heavy rainfall areas of the Western Ghats. Western Ghat means, if we follow the map, then we can clearly see that this green color, it is known as the tropical evergreen forests, and in this portion the Western Ghat is located and the island group of Lakshadweep. So in this area, it is noted as Lakshadweep in India. So at that area and in Andaman and Nicobar area, this green color is indicating the tropical evergreen forest. And in the upper parts of Assam, this area, upper parts of Assam and Tamil Nadu coast. So in these places, which places are colored by deep green color, that are identified by tropical evergreen forests. They are based in areas having more than 200 centimeter of rainfall with a short dry season, and the trees reach great heights up to 60 meters of even above. since the region is warm and wet throughout the year, because it has a luxuriant vegetations of all kinds. The amount of sunlight are also high and the amount of rainfall is also high. That's why in this place we can see different kinds of species of trees, shrubs and creepers, giving it a multi-layered structure. There is no definite time for trees to shed their leaves. As such, these forests appear green all the year around. That's why we have used here, in your book it is also, if you notice that, then in your book in this map is drawn. So that's why throughout the year these forests covered their places by shading the tree. So that's why this places we have identified with deep green color. This is the very important types of vegetation, that is tropical evergreen forests. Some example of tropical evergreen forest, you can say that ebony, mahogany, rosewood, rubber and cinchona. And the common animals found in these forests are like lemur, deer, monkey and one-horned rhinoceros, etc. Now we will discuss about the tropical deciduous forests. The second point, tropical deciduous forests. Look at the map again. This color, this light grey color, it is notified as tropical deciduous forest. So this portion of India, so mainly this portion is covered with tropical deciduous forest. It is also known as the monsoon forest. Okay, and the vast portion of India is covered by tropical deciduous forest. On the basis of the availability of water, these forests are further divided into moist and dry deciduous, and the receiving rainfall in between 70 to 200 centimeter. The former is found in areas receiving rainfall between 200 and 100 centimeter, and this forest exists therefore mostly in the eastern part of the country, northeastern states, along the foothills of the Himalayas, Jharkhand, West Odisha, Chhattisgarh, eastern slopes of the Western Ghats. There are different types of places are written, and as an example of the plants type, we can say sandalwood, shisham, bamboos, kusum, arjun, mulberry. These are the main types of leaves on these places. Now the dry deciduous forests are found in areas having rainfall between 100 to 70 centimeter. So 100 to 200 centimeter we can see the mostly this type of deciduous forest, which are known as the moist deciduous between 100 to 200 centimeter, and between 70 to 100 centimeter we can found the dry deciduous. So it is divided into two parts, moist and dry deciduous. These forests are found in the rainier parts of the peninsular plateau and the plains of Bihar, Uttar Pradesh. There are open stretches in which teak, shal, peepal and neem grow. In these forests, the common animals found that are pig, tiger, lion, elephant, huge varieties of birds, different types of reptiles, tortoise, snakes, etc. Nextly, we will discuss about tropical thorn forests. Look at the map again. This portion, this light yellow color, this portion, and you know that in this portion the third desert is located. So at that portion this type of forests are mainly found, that are known as thorny forests or scrubs, and in this part of India also thorny forests are found. When you will read this chapter, then always follow this map. Okay. In this tropical thorny forest in regions with less than 70 centimeter of rainfall, the natural vegetation consists mainly thorny trees. Which trees has thorn? So that are known as mainly bushes. This type of vegetation is found in the northwestern part of the country. So mainly in which region? Rajasthan, Gujarat, Chhattisgarh it is located. Trees are scattered in manner, and here and there that plants are located and have the long roots, because in the very near portion of the earth's surface water is not available, because very dry area that is. That's why the plants have a long roots to penetrating the deep into the soil in order to get some water or moisture. The stems are flattened to conserve water. Actually, they have fleshy stem. Leaves are mostly thick and small to minimize evaporation, because if at that places the plants evaporate in large amount, then they will die. So that's why they have that type of leaves character. At that way they can minimize the evaporation process, and that these forests give way to thorn forests and scrubs in arid areas. Arid area means, you know that in the desert area winds of wax are mainly the physical types of features. So this is known as arid area. In this forest the common animals are fox, lion, wild ass, camels. Camels are mainly important animals in desert area. Then rats, mice, etc. Nextly, we will discuss about montane forests. Montane forest, this term is related with mountainous areas. The decrease in the temperature, because you know that in the mountainous area the temperature is decreasing. So as such, there is a succession of natural vegetation belts in the same order as we see from the tropical to the tundra region. The wet temperate types of forest are found. Evergreen broadleaf trees such as oaks. As an example, we can say oaks, chestnuts predominate, etc. Between 1500 and 3000 meter, because altitude is very high. It is very common because this forest is located in the mountainous area, so the altitude will very high, that is between 1500 to 3000 meter, and different types of species of plants like deodar, silver fir, spruce, cedar it will found. This forest covered mostly the southern slopes of the Himalayas and places having high altitude in southern and northeastern India. At higher elevations, temperate grasslands are common. At high altitudes, generally more than 3600 meters above the sea level, temperate forest and grasslands give way to the alpine vegetation. And the trees are juniper, pines, birds, etc. And they, at that region, the plants get a large amount of snow, because maximum portion of the year these forests are covered with, and the plants are covered with snow, okay, because of the low temperature. Different types of animals are also found, and at higher altitude mosses and lichens form part of tundra vegetation. And different types of animals are wild sheep, rabbit, Tibetan antelope, snow leopard, shaggy horn, wild ibex, bear, red panda, it is very rare now, sheep and goats with thick hair. Why thick hair? Because at that places they have adapted themselves like this way. So that's why their body have a thick hair for protecting themselves for the very cold winds. At this cause they have thick hair. So this is montane forest or mountainous forests. In map, the green color, light green color, it is identified by montane forests. Okay, so in India, you will see that the mountainous region mainly it is covered by montane forest or mountain forest. Next, lastly, we will discuss about the mangrove forests. Okay, mangrove forest. And mangrove forests, it is very less in amount in our country. This colored, that means in this place, in this area, and in this area. This area is near to the Sundarban, you know that. So at that area the mangrove forests are naturally found. The mangrove tidal forests are found in the areas of coastal influenced by tides. What are tides? You know that sometimes our water level is increasing and sometimes it is decreasing. In one day it happens 2 times per day. So this is known as tides. So this tide, when the forests are influenced by the tidal water, so that are known as tidal forests. Mud and silt get accumulated on such coastal area, and that's why the dense mangroves are the very common varieties with roots of the plants submerged under water. The deltas of the Ganga, Mahanadi, Krishna, Godavari, Kaveri are covered by such vegetation. Very important, this type of forest is. In the Ganga Brahmaputra delta, Sundari trees are found, which provide durable hard timber, and there are different types of plant species are also found like coconut, keora, agar, palm, etc. And which is the main animal? That is Royal Bengal tiger. It is a famous animal in this forest, and crocodiles, gharials, turtles, snakes are also found in these forests. So these are the main things, students, we have discussed in this portion, natural vegetations. In the next video clippings, we will elaborately discuss about the wildlife, because wildlife is also related with the natural vegetation. From this chapter, you also have to read the what is natural vegetation, different types of vegetations according to the climatic factor, and different types of features at different types of forests. So all the things are important. So let us revise the chapter, students. Okay, thank you.